Welcome back, and this is part 2 of my recipe. In this part of the recipe we're going to be using some puff pastry. I'm using Tender Flake. You can use any brand that you wish. And we're going to need 1 egg, and that's for our egg wash. So let's get on with this portion of the recipe. So usually in these little boxes you get 2 little squares of puff pastry. Today I'm just going to use 1 square. We'll just get this out. And we're going to need a little bit of flour. There we go. So I'm just going to get a little bit of flour on there, and I've got myself a rolling pin. I'll just turn that over. A little bit of flour on the top. And I'm just going to roll this out so I get a nice big square. And there's nothing fancy with, this kind of puff pastry. You can do all kinds of amazing things with it though. But as for, all the work, everything's done for you when you buy it like this. And every time you feel that it's sticking a little bit, you can just get a little bit of flour down. Flip it over. There we go. Okay. So that's pretty good, just like that. So here I have 2 cookie cutters. One's larger than the other, and we're going to be cutting out some different size circles. Okay? And if you don't have cookie cutters, you can use different size glasses. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up, and I'm going to get 4 nice circles here. Perfect. And now you're going to grab your smaller one, and we're going to put that and center it as best you can, and then cut out the middle of 2 of them, just like that. Okay, grab your knife, just get it underneath and pull out the centers. There we go. Perfect. Now what we want to do is we want to make a very simple egg wash. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to crack my egg in here, and I'm also going to put in 1 tablespoon of water. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back in a second. So I've got my egg cracked, and I added in 1 tablespoon of water, and I'm just going to whisk this around so that it's all nice and mixed up. And then what you want to do is grab yourself a little silicone brush, which I will do, and on to our next step. So what I've done here is I've just moved our 4 circles onto a cookie sheet, which I have lined with parchment paper. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this nice egg wash, and I'm just going to get that right on there, just like that. And that's going to be kind of like a glue for our upper ring. So you do that like that, grab yourself a knife, slide it underneath, and try to keep the integrity of that circle intact. There we go. And then just give it a nice little push. Okay, you can also use this, little pie remover. That's good to use as well. It has more surface area. Okay, and we'll do the next one just like that. And then here, I'll just show you with this one here. There we go. And we'll just get that right on there just like that. Try to make it nice and round, keep it nice and round. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit more of our egg wash and put it on the top. Now, adding that 1 tablespoon of water to that egg, what it does is it makes it a lot easier to get in there. Without adding the water, the egg is very stiff, and sometimes it's a little harder to get your brush in there and get it moving around. So this just loosens it up a little bit, makes it a little bit more runny, and it works perfect, or perfectly, I should say. There we go. Just like that. And then what I want to do, the outer shell, this little ring, we do want that to puff up, but I don't want the middle puffing up as much, so I'm going to take my fork, and this is called docking. And you might see this in your local pizzeria. Just before they put a pizza in, they take, they roll out the dough, and then they do this with a huge roller. And that just kind of tries to, it inhibits the actual crust from puffing up in those areas. It lets all of the steam out of there, just like that. And then we'll get a little bit more egg wash on here. I have my oven set to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake these off until they're golden brown. So again, we're going to dock this just like that. So there we go. So off to the oven, and I'll show you what they look like when I come back. Alright, so all of my little puff pastries have baked really nicely, and I kept them in for a total of 15 minutes, and you can see they're all nicely golden brown. They're not burnt on the bottom. There we go. So what I want you to do next is you're going to take a little spoon, the back of a spoon, and you're just going to go and depress the inside very gently. Just go around like this. Don't use a fork because you might break the outside. And this just gets into the corners really nicely. So you can get right around just like that. So what you want to do is just push everything down just like that. Okay. So even with our little docking with the fork, you know, where we put all the little holes in, it's still puffed up. Now what you can do is too, you can just take your fork, your spoon rather, and turn it the other way and kind of just give it a little push just like this. We just want to release this and then just kind of push it gently down just like that. Nice, just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to go and do the same thing. I'm just going to go around just like this and then just give it a little bit of a push. Now, in video 1 or part 1 of this recipe, I made a really nice French pastry cream, and that is what we're going to fill our little puff pastries with. So that's our next step. Okay, so for the last part of our video, what I'm going to do here is we're going to put some beautiful pastry cream into all of our little puff pastries. Now what I have here is the French pastry cream that I made in another video. At the end of this video, I'm going to have a link to this pastry cream if you want to know how to make this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to load this into a pastry bag. If you don't have a pastry bag, then you can just take a couple of spoons and spoon your pastry cream into your puff pastry like that. Turn that this way, and then I am just going to take the piping bag and I'm just going to go around, and you can put a little bit or a lot, whatever, you know, whatever amount that you like to put in there. And if you're doing these for a party, I suggest only putting the pastry cream in a little while before you're actually serving these, because if this sits for hours on, you know, at a time, the pastry cream will get down and it will make the puff pastry a little bit soggy underneath. Okay, again, just like that. Perfect. And our last one, this was with all the little leftover pieces. We'll just get in there and just paint a little bit in there, just like that. Perfect. Okay, I'm back, and what I did was I just prepared some strawberries, and I've got some nice little raspberries. So what you want to do is just take a few of your nice strawberries, just pick a few that are going to fit on there, just like that. How about one nice large one for here? That looks good too. Our little square one will get the nice little raspberries in there. This here, I do have a video on this on my channel. So you just take a little bit of this apricot glaze and you just basically paint it on there. Okay, and this glaze was made with apricot jam. I have a video that shows exactly all of the steps, how to make this. And you can store this in your fridge, just have it covered. And if it's a little bit thick, you add a little bit of water to it, microwave it, and you get a beautiful covering. What this also does is it protects all of your fruit from the air, and then these tarts can sit, you know, in the store, in the pastry shop for longer periods of time without drying out. And it does add, you know, that final little, you know, flavor on the top. You get that, you know, extra sweetness that some people like in a dessert. Just another layer of flavor. At the end of this video, in a few seconds from now, you'll see the link to make the pastry cream if you're interested in seeing that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's it. I'll see you next time.